Good day, everyone. We are the Group 9, and our topic is American occupation of the Philippines. And these are the topics.
The suppression of Filipino nationalism and the Filipinization of the government. In 1902, the American colonial government designated the 4th of July, a date profoundly dear and symbolic to the United States and its people, as the official end of the insurrection of their newly acquired possession, which is the Philippines. This insurrection, labeled such by the U.S., was recognized by the Filipino revolutionaries as a legitimate war, which began in February 1899 during the San Juan Bridge incident and ended in March 1901 with the surrender of the President Emilio Aguinaldo. His surrender to the new colonizers who had been portraying themselves as benevolent people and friends to the natives, led to the surrender of other revolutionary forces across the archipelago. However, Filipino resistance in different areas, such as in southern Luzon and Mindanao, continued to threaten American rule in the Philippines until 1913. One suggested that a civil government should supplant the existing military administration established in August 1898 after the American victory in the mock Battle of Manila, and first headed by General Wesley Merritt. Secondly, it recommended the creation of bicameral legislature with the lower house to be composed of Filipino statesmen while leaving the upper house to American colonial administrators. And lastly, the Shoreman Commission likewise endorsed the improvement of the general sanitary conditions of the Philippines and the founding of the public school system to educate the Filipinos. A second delegation, led by William Howard Taft, was sent to the Philippines in June 1900s. The Second Philippine Commission was also known the Taft Commission, proceeded to execute the recommendations previously given by the Sherman and his colleagues. In October of the same year, this Philippine Commission was given the authority to exercise legislative powers in the Philippines by President William McKinley. Ultimately, on July 4, 1901, a civil government was established known as the Insular Government with the Taft himself as the Governor General. A military governor, Adna Chaf, continued to administer unpacified areas until exactly a year later when the Philippine insurrection was declared officially over. In this particular chapter, with the use of primary sources, students will be looking into two subsequent periods of Philippine history following the Philippine-American War. First is the period dubbed by the nationalist historians as the era of suppressed nationalism, a time dominated by repressive American policies and actions aiming to extinguish native nationalist sentiments to strengthen colonial control over the archipelago. Second, the era of Filipinization, wherein a more active Filipino participation in governance led to eventual independence. Some of the sources excerpted in this chapter are the laws passed by the Philippine Commission that were thought to suppress Filipino nationalism, namely the libel law, sedition law, brigandage law, and the flag law. The excerpts of Act Number 277 or the libel law of 1901. After the establishment of a civil government in the islands with William Howard Taft as the Governor General, the Philippine Commission, the sole legislative body in the colony, originally composed of Dean Worcester, Luke Edward Wright, Henry Clay Ide, and Taft himself, passed a number of legislations which aimed to further the American colonial agenda, to prevent any imminent resistance from the Filipinos, and to avoid the Americans being portrayed to the public negatively. One of these was the Philippine Commission Act number 277, also known as the Libel Law of 1901. This particular law, enacted in October of the said year, prohibited malicious defamation in writing, printing, and theatrical exhibitions. Excerpts of law are found below. By authority of the President of the United States, be it enacted by the United States Philippine Commission. Section 1. A libel is a malicious defamation expressed either in writing, printing, or by signs or pictures or the like, or public theatrical exhibitions tending to blacken the memory of one who is dead or to impeach the honesty, virtue, or reputation, or publish the alleged of natural defects of one who is alive and thereby expose him to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule. Section 2. Every person who willfully and with malicious intent to injure another publishes or procures to be published any libel shall be punished by a fine of not exceeding $2,000 or imprisonment for not exceeding 1 year or both. Section 3. An injurious publication is presumed to have been malicious if no justifiable motive or making it shown. The next one is Section 4. In all criminal prosecutions for libel, the truth may be given an evidence to the court, and if it appears to the court that the matter charged as libelous is true and was published with good motives or for justifiable ends, the party shall be acquitted. Otherwise, lie shall be convicted. But to establish this defense, not only must the truth of the matter so charged to be proven, but also that it was published with good motive and justifiable ends. Section 6. Every author, editor, or proprietor of any book, newspaper, or serial publication is chargeable with the publication of any words contained in any part of such book or number of each newspaper or serial as fully as if he were the author of the same. Section 7. No reporter, editor, or proprietor of any newspaper is liable to any prosecution for a fair and true report of any judicial, legislative, or other public official proceedings, or of any statement, speech, argument, or debate in the course of the same, except upon proof of malice in making such report, which shall not be implied from the mere fact of publication. Next is Section 9. A private communication made by any person to another in good faith in the performance of any duty, whether it's legal, moral, or social, solely with the fair and reasonable purpose of protecting the interest of the person making the communication or the interest of the person to whom the communication is made. It is privileged communication, and the person making the same shall not be guilty or liable nor be within the provision of this Act. Section 10. Every person who threatens another to publish a libel concerning him or any parent, husband, wife, or child of such person, or any member of his family, and every person who offers to prevent the publication of any libel upon another person with intent to extort any money or other valuable consideration from any person shall be punished by a fine of not exceeding $1,000 or by imprisonment for not exceeding 6 months or both. And lastly, the Section 12. Any person who writes, composes, stereotypes, prints, publishes, sells, or keeps for sale, distributes, or exhibits any obscene or indecent writing, paper, hook, or other matter shall be guilty of misdemeanor and punished by a fine not exceeding $1,000 or by imprisonment not exceeding of 1 year or both.
Now, we will proceed to the topic, the Act Number 1696 or the Flag Law of 1907 and Act Number 518 or the Brigandage Law of 1902. What is Act Number 1696? So, it was enacted by the All-American Philippine Commission, August 23, 1907. This law prohibited the display of flags, banners, and emblems which may entice Filipinos to rebel against American authorities. So, before ta mag-proceed sa mga section sa Act 1696, mag-tackle ta about sa Philippine flag. So, the Philippine flag officially unfurled during the declaration of the Philippine independence on June 12, 1898 in Kawit, Cavite, sewn in Hong Kong by Marcela and Lorenza Agoncillo and Delfina Herbosa, which is relative di ay ni Dr. Jose Rizal. Makita man nato diba sa Philippine flag na kanang sun na symbol na siya 8 ka ray. So, ang kanang 8 ka ray, nag-symbolize na siya sa first 8 Philippines provinces to rise up against the Spanish during the Philippine Revolution of 1896. So, kana sila na places kay Manila, Bulacan, Pampanga, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, Tarlac, and Nueva Ecija. Kanang tulo ka star bitaw sa flag kay nagsymbolize na siya sa three major island groups of the Philippines, ang Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So, ang kanang color sa flag na blue, red, and white kay ikan sila sa US flag as a sign of gratitude towards the American people. So, mag-proceed na ta sa Section 1 sa Act Number 1696. So, sa Section 1 is any person who shall expose or cause or permit to be exposed to public view on his own premises or identify those in armed rebellion against the United States or any flag, banner, emblem, or device of the Katipunan Society used for public view shall be punished by a fine or posible sa sila makulong. Fine, dili na siya mo baba sa 500 pesos pero dili pud siya mulapas sa 5,000 pesos. Makulong sad ka, dili na siya mo baba sa 3 months pero dili na pud siya mulapas sa 5 years. Sa Section 2, any person or persons having charge of any banquet, public entertainment, public meeting or reunion or any parade, procession or review who shall display or cause or permit to be displayed shall be punished by a fine or imprisonment. Same lang gihapon dito sa Section 1. Sa Section 3, any person who shall violate the provision of this section shall be punished by a fine or imprisonment. So, same lang gyapon dito sa Section 1 o Section 2 ang fine o ang sa imprisonment. Section 4. Any person who shall wear, use, or expose to public view in any parade, procession, or review any uniform or dress or part thereof adopted or used against the authority of the United States in the Philippine Island shall be punished by a fine or imprisonment. Same lang gihapon sa other section. Brigandage Law or Act Number 518. So what is Brigandage Law? When the United States took over the Philippines at the turn of the century, it passed the Brigandage Act of 1902, which identified anyone who showed resistance to the new government as a bandit. A band of brigands was defined as 3 or more persons conspiring to steal by authority of the United States, be it enacted by the Philippine Commission that Section 1. Whenever three or more persons conspiring together shall form a band of robbers for the purpose of stealing by means of force and violence, and shall go out upon the highway or roam over the country, shall be punished by death or imprisonment for not less than 20 years. Section 2. To prove the crime described in the previous section, it shall not be necessary to adduce evidence, but it shall be sufficient to justify conviction thereunder if, from the circumstances. Section 3. Persons guilty of the crime defined in the Section 1 may be punished therefore in the court of the first instance. Section 4. Every person knowingly aiding or kanang magtabang, magprotect sa band of brigands by kanang makatag sila og mga information, magkuhan sila sa movement sa pulis, ilang i-protect, ilang hatagan og food, shelter, mga sanina, kay kuan shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 10 years and not more than 20 years. So, that ends our presentation. Thank you for listening everyone. God bless.